All right, so for 4C, so this lesson is going to focus on what we call standard form. So just kind of a quick recap, before we've done slope-intercept form, which is y equals mx plus b, and just recently we did point-slope form, which is y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So now we're going to be looking at standard form, which is ax plus by equals c. So we've actually dealt with standard form before. We're just going to look at it from a different perspective. So first off, before we begin, we're going to kind of refer back to 4a and 4b, and we're going to kind of recap what we did there. So we want to write these equations in slope-intercept and point-slope form. So if I give you the slope of 2 and a point of 5 comma negative 4, we're going to start in point-slope form. So I have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm going to start with y minus negative 4 equals 2 parentheses x minus 5. So I got to simplify first before I can make this qualify as point-slope form. So I have y plus 4 equals 2 parentheses x minus 5. So there is my point-slope form. All right, so now I'm going to use this same exact form to convert into slope-intercept form. So I'm going to write it up here. All right, so the first thing you're going to do is you need to convert. So I'm going to distribute the 2. So y plus 4 equals 2x minus 10. And then I'm going to subtract 4. So your equation here, we're going to have y equals 2x minus 14. All right, so there's the first one. All right, so now for the second one here, now instead of me explicitly giving you the slope, you have to find the slope. So x1, y1, and x2, y2. So I'm going to do y2 minus y1, x2 minus x1. So I'm going to have negative 2 minus 7 over 4 minus negative 2. So negative 2 minus 7 is going to give you negative 9. And then 4 minus negative 2 is going to give you 4 plus 2, which is 6, which will simplify to negative 3 halves. All right, so it doesn't matter which point we use for point slope form. So I'm going to use 4 comma negative 2. So I'm going to have y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So to start off, y minus negative 2 equals negative 3 halves x minus 4. So I'm going to simplify first. So y plus 2 equals negative 3 halves x minus 4. All right, so there is my point slope form. Now I want to distribute so I can convert. So y plus 2 equals negative 3 halves x plus 6. So 3 times 4, which gives you 12. 12 divided by 2, which gives you 6. All right, and then I'm going to subtract 2 on both sides. So I have y equals negative 3 halves x plus 4. So here is my slope-intercept form. All right, so now for standard form, we're going to incorporate another equation. So your a, b, and c values typically are going to be whole numbers. Actually, no, I take that back. They are going to be whole numbers. And then your a value is traditionally going to be positive. So unless they give you an a value where it's negative, you have to rewrite it as if it is negative. Or scratch that, as if it is positive. All right, so based on whatever equation I give you, you want to write it in standard form. So just know that your x and your y values are on the same side and your x value or your a value is positive. It doesn't matter what the a or doesn't matter what the b and c value are. The a value has to be a positive whole number. All right, so I give you an equation in point slope form and it has to be rewritten into standard form. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is convert by distributing. So y minus 5 equals 4x minus 4. So if you notice, look at your value here, your ax value. It's already a positive number and it's a whole number. So I'm going to use that as my pivot point. So I'm going to move everything according to that value. So that means I need my y to be on this side. So I'm going to have negative 5 equals positive 4x minus y minus 4. And now I want to get rid of that 4 over here so I can make it my c value. So negative 5 at 4. There we go. So negative 5 plus 4 gives me negative 1 equals 4x minus y. Now I just want to kind of flip it so that it actually resembles standard form. There we go. All right, so my a, b, and c values are all whole numbers, and my a value is a positive number, so we're good. All right, so looking over here at number 2. So if you notice your value with your x, it's negative and it's a fraction. So that's already a big no-no for standard form. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 2. So I can get rid of the negative and I can make it a whole number. So I'm going to have negative 2y equals positive x plus 6. All right, so if you notice, look at your x value. Remember, this is going to be your pivot point. So if it's positive, do not move it. So it's positive and a whole number, so I'm not moving it at all. So that means I'm going to move my negative 2y. So I'm going to add 2y on both sides. So I have 0 equals x plus 2y plus 6. Now I need to move the 6 to the other side. So I'm going to subtract. Oh my gosh, that line is crooked and it's going to bother me. There we go. All right, so we have negative 6 equals x plus 2y. So now I'm going to flip it over. So x plus 2y equals negative 6. And there's our standard form equation. All right, number 3. So I would say try this one on your own. It's actually similar to the very first one. Or don't. Everything's fine. All right, so this is not written in any specific form, but it's kind of close to point slope form, but not really. So this is going to be 2x minus 2 equals negative y plus 5. So as always, use your x value as your pivot point. So it is positive and a whole number, so I'm keeping it where it is. So everything moves according to that. So I need to get my y over on that side. So I'm going to add y over. So I have 2, x plus y minus 2 equals 5. All right, and then I need to get rid of this 2. So I'm going to add it to both sides. So I have 2x plus y equals 7. There we go. All right. All right, so up above was if I'm given the equation and then I just want to write it in standard form. Now I'm actually going to take it a step back and actually tell you guys, all right, here's a point, here's a slope, or here's 2 points, whatever. Now write it in standard form. So looking at the very first one, so I give you the slope and I give you a point. So you have options. Because I give you a point and a slope, typically I would say write it in point slope form, but also keep in mind you could start this one in slope intercept form because I give you the slope and the b value. However, I would always recommend starting in point slope form 100% of the time. So start with y minus y1, x minus x1. So y minus 2 equals 4 parentheses x minus 0. All right, so I have y minus 2 equals 4x. All right, so 4x, my a value is positive in a whole number, so it stays where it is. So it's my pivot point. So I'm going to subtract y. So I have negative 2 equals 4x minus y. Now I just got to switch it over. So 4x minus y equals negative 2. So there is your standard form. All right, number 2. Same idea here. I'm going to start with point slope form. Y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm going to have y minus 5 equals 3 halves x minus 6. All right, so distribute. So I'm going to have y minus 5 equals 3 halves x plus 3 times 6 gives you negative 18 divided by 2 should be a negative 9. All right, so right here, if you see here, my slope or mine was 3 halves, so it's a fraction. Can't have that. So what I'm going to do is, because I'm dividing by this 2 right here, I'm going to multiply everything by 2, just so I can get rid of that fraction. So here, I'll have 2y minus 10 equals 3x minus 18. So everything just got multiplied by 2. All right, so my ax value here is a positive whole number, so now it's good to go. It's my pivot point. So subtract 2y on both sides. So I have negative 10 equals 3x minus 2y minus 18. So I'm going to copy this up here. All right, so now I want to add 18 on both sides, because I only want my x and my y values on the same side. Everything else is gone. So I have 8 equals 3x minus 2y. So I'm going to flip. So 3x minus 2y equals 8. So there's my standard form. All right. Number 3. So I'm going to find the slope first. So I have, hello, can we work? There we go. So I'm just going to start off with my values. So 0 minus negative 4. And then 5 minus 0. So this is going to be positive 4 over positive 5. All right, so now I'm going to start with y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, so I'm actually going to use 0 comma negative 4. So I'm going to have 0 and 4/5, then x minus negative 4. So I did that on purpose just so that my y value would automatically just be by itself. So I'm going to have y equals 4/5 x plus 4. All right, so now if you notice, I'm going to make this a little bit easier. I'm going to go ahead and just multiply by 5 before I distribute. So I'm going to multiply both sides by 5. So I have 5y equals 4 parentheses x plus 4. So the 5 here and the 5 here just simplified. So I only have this 4 up here in the numerator left. So now I'm going to have 5y equals 4x plus 16. So I'm going to copy this over here. All right, so My AX value is a positive whole number, so I'm going to use that as my pivot. So I'm going to subtract 5y. So I have 0 equals 4x minus 5y plus 16. Then I'm going to subtract 16. So I have negative 16 equals 4x minus 5y. And then switch it over. So I have 4x minus 5y equals negative 16. So there's my standard form equation. So some of these problems actually require kind of a lot. Okay, number 4. I would say try number 4 on your own. All right, so this is x1, y1. Okay, so first thing, find the slope. So 7 minus 0 over 0 minus negative 3. So that's going to give you positive 7 over positive 3. All right, so now I'm going to use negative 3 comma 0. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So if I use negative 3 comma 0, that means I'm going to have y minus 0 equals 7/3 parentheses x minus negative 3. All right, so I'm going to simplify. So y minus 0 equals 7/3 x plus 3. All right, so remember from here, we need to get rid of that denominator value. So because I'm dividing here by 3, now I'm going to multiply everything by 3. So on the left side, that's just going to be 3y equals 7 parentheses x plus 3. So you have multiple different areas in which you could multiply by 3 or whatever that value is. You could do it at this step or you could do it at a later step. It doesn't matter when, as long as you eventually make a whole number. All right, so now from here, I'm going to distribute. So 3y equals 7x plus 21. So my AX value, I have 7x. It's positive in a whole number, so it's good. Do not move it. So it's a pivot point. So I'm going to subtract 3y. So 0 equals 7x minus 3y plus 21. Then subtract 21 on both sides. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and flip it and everything. So I'm going to have 7x minus 3y equals negative 21. All right. So there is kind of a lot involved in these. So be patient with yourself on these. Some of these are kind of tricky. All right, so now from here, I'm going to give you a graph, and I want you to write the standard form equation based on the graph. All right, so really what you need here is just enough information to write something in point slope form. So you need to find a point, which I would recommend using the y-intercept. So this is 0, 4. And now you need to find the slope. So if you look here, we're actually going down 1 and right 1. So negative 1 and positive 1. So my slope here is just negative 1. All right, so given that I have a slope of negative 1 and it passes through the point 0, 4, I want to write my standard form equation based on this information. So start with point slope form. So y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. So I'm going to have y minus 4 equals -1 parentheses x minus 0. So from here, I'm going to convert. First thing, distribute. So I'm going to have y minus 4 equals just -1x. So this is a great example of when your x value is actually negative. So because my x value here is negative, this is not my pivot point. So that means I actually need to add x on both sides. I have to make it positive. So I'll have x plus y minus 4 equals 0. Then I can add 4 on both sides. So I have x plus y. That's not a y. X plus y equals 4. There we go. All right. So I would actually say you guys try these last 3. It's really similar to what we've already been doing. The only thing different is I'm just throwing in a graph. So I'm just throwing in one extra step. All right. So from here, find the y-intercept. So that's 0, -3. And then up here, we have an x-intercept of 2, 0. So if I do that for my slope, so this is +3 and +2. So I have a slope of 3/2. And now let's say I actually use the x-intercept this time. It doesn't matter which one you use, whether you want to use the y-intercept or the x-intercept, it really doesn't matter. All right, so start with y minus y1 m times x minus x1. All right, so now I'm going to start with y minus 0 equals 3/2 x minus 2. All right, so now I'm going to have y equals 3/2 x minus 2. So because I have this 2 in the denominator, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. So now I'll have 2y equals 3 parentheses x minus 2. Now I can distribute and start putting it in standard form. So I'm going to distribute. So 2y equals 3x minus 6. So my ax value here, positive whole number, it's good to go. It's my pivot point. So subtract 2y on both sides. So 0 equals 3x minus 2y minus 6. I'm going to add 6 on both sides. So I'm going to have 3x minus 2y equals positive 6. So that is our standard form. All right. So now for this next one down here in green. So I have a y-intercept of 0, -3 and a x-intercept of 4, 0. So that means my slope here, hello, there we go. So my slope here, hello, there we go. It's going to be up 3 and right 4, which means my slope is 3/4. So I have a slope of 3/4. And I'll use the x-intercept again. So up 3, right 4, so that'd be 4, 0. Yep. Okay. Now for the fun part. All right. So I'm going to plug in. So for my y1, plug in 0. So y minus 0 equals 3/4 x minus 4. All right, so because I'm dividing by 4, I'm going to multiply by 4 on both sides. Okay, so y minus 0 is just y. So 4y equals 3 parentheses x minus 4. All right, distribute. So you're going to have 4y equals 3x minus 12. So my ax value is a positive whole number, so I'm going to use that as a pivot. So I'm going to subtract 4y on both sides. So I have 0 equals 3x minus 4y minus 12. Then add 12. So I will have 3x minus 4y equals 12. All right, so notice how I'm using both the x and the y-intercept for both points and to find my slope. It just makes it a little bit easier. All right, so now up here, now we have a y-intercept of 0, 4, and we have a x-intercept of 3, 0. So to find my slope, hello. Close enough. So we went down 4, and now we went right 3. So that means we're going to have a slope of negative 4/3. And then we're going to pass through the point. We'll use 3, 0. I don't know why, I just prefer using the x-intercept. All right, so y minus y1 equals m times x minus x1. All right, so now I'm going to have y minus 0 equals negative 4/3 x minus 3. Okay, so I'm going to have y equals negative 4/3 x minus 3. So because I'm dividing by that 3 and it's negative, I'm going to multiply both sides by a negative 3. So I have negative 3y equals positive 4x minus 3. So the negative 3, and the negative here, they all simplify on the right side. All right, so I'm going to have negative 3y equals 4x minus 12. All right, so add 3y. All right, so I have 0 equals 4x plus 3y minus 12, and then plus 12. So I will have 4x plus 3y equals positive 12.